Hey friend, welcome back to my channel. We're going to talk today about what happens if your horse has an abscess, how to soak that foot, and how to wrap that foot so that you can draw out the infection so that your horse can start to feel better as soon as possible. Abscesses are very painful for horses as the pressure builds up in their foot from the infection, and it has to find a draining tract in order to get out. The soaking is going to help soften the hoof and draw out that infection, and then the wrapping is going to help keep the hoof clean and continue to help draw out that infection. It would be a huge favor if you would just like this video, just hit that little like button right down there, and also subscribe for more video content like this, and let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, friend, without much ado, let's go ahead and get into this video.
Okay, first thing you're going to need is some Epsom salts. This is what they look like, and this is what's going to help draw out the infection when we soak and also when we wrap. These are going to be all the tools we're going to need, plus a towel. I've got them laid out here. We're going to need some vet wrap, duct tape, both Gorilla Tape and regular duct tape, Betadine solution or just regular iodine, Animal Intex Poultice, diapers, Epsom salts, of course, and something to soak the hoof in. I recommend something like this, it's just easier. That's basically what you're gonna need. Here's a close-up on the Animal Intex Poultice. I like using these because they're just easy and no mess. They come with a little plastic backing, and they're just nice to have on hand. Diapers are incredibly helpful when you go to wrap the hoof. If you don't have diapers, you can use a cotton pad or nothing, but I find that diapers are just really helpful in keeping everything in place and being a nice hoof wrap for the horse. We also have some Coflex or vet wrap, just a flexible adhesive bandage that sticks to itself. My favorite thing to do before I start is to unwrap this because it tends to stick to itself really easily, which is why we like it. But when we're wrapping the hoof, it's just harder to wrap it if it's sticking to itself too well. So I like to unwrap it like I'm showing here and then gently wrap it back up. So when I'm wrapping the hoof, it's just a lot easier for it to unroll like this. We're going to use this Hoof Wraps brand soaking boot. It comes with a little insert, and that's what we're going to use to soak her hoof. This is our patient. This is Harriet. She's so pretty. I like to fly spray the horse before starting so that they're not bothered by the flies and they don't want to pick up their legs while we're working on them as much. It's just nicer for them. This is what the hoof bandage looks like after she's worn it for a full 24 hours, and it looks like it's held up pretty well. We're going to want to cut off the hoof boot that we made, and it's always safest to do with some bandage scissors that have a blunt end, and you want to face that blunt end towards the horse so you don't accidentally poke them. Here I am just cutting it off. If you do a lot of layers of duct tape, it tends to be more difficult to get off, but it stays on better. So here I am taking it off. You can see the diaper, and we did an Animal Intex Poultice pad this last time, and this is just kind of what it looks like after it's been on for a little bit. So what we're going to want to do is take the Epsom salt. Sometimes it gets some clumps in it, so I break up those clumps, and we're going to pour in our Epsom salt to our hoof wraps bag. This is the soaking bag we're going to put our hoof into. I generally recommend doing more than you think you need. You want the water to be extremely saturated with the Epsom salts. And here you can just see how I've started with about this much. I'm going to put the pad in there and fill it up with warm water. And I'm not going to fill it up all the way. I'm just going to do it about a quarter of the way with some water. And that's because if she decides she doesn't want her foot in there or jerks her foot around, I have less water to worry about as she gets used to putting her foot in there. But you can kind of see how you can still see some Epsom salts in there. I'm going to add some Betadine solution, and that just helps for any infection. Just cautionary. And the pad's going to go in there. just to make it nicer for her to stand on, especially since she doesn't have a shoe on. I'm going to show her this bag just so she knows what's going on her foot. It can be surprising for some horses. And since I don't have that much water in it, if she decides to pick her foot up again or want to look at it or do something funny, I'm not dealing with a bunch of water sloshing around. So I just kind of stand with her for a minute and just get her to accept the bag that's on her foot. It'll start to feel pretty good. So if you can get them to realize that, then they'll stand pretty well. So here I am just tightening the bag down. Again, this bag is just so much easier than soaking it in a bucket or a tub, because if she picks her foot up, then it's still attached. I'm going to fill it up the rest of the way. If you find that you need to add some more Epsom salts, you can do that at this step as well. You can see I filled it all the way up with warm water. Another way you can do it is put it in one of these soft-sided tubs, but you do have to stand with the horse the entire time because they could easily pick up their hoof out of the water. So the bag is just a little nicer. You're going to want to soak for about 20 minutes. I recommend staying close by just to keep an eye on your horse. I'm right off screen making these guys. So as the horse is soaking, I start setting up my materials for my hoof bandage. And one of the big things is going to be the duct tape booty that we're gonna make here. So what I'm doing is just taking strips of regular duct tape and making a square pattern like this, and then I do one long piece as well, and I will describe how I use these here in just a little bit. If you have it on hand, the Gorilla Tape is just so much stronger, so I do another hoof booty as well. And I do it just like this. I find a clean wall and just tape it there. What I'm doing now is just taking some scissors and cutting a line in the corner of the duct tape booty, and what this does is it just makes it easier for me to fold down the sides when it's on the horse's hoof. Our pony is done soaking now, so we're going to get some of our materials ready and take this booty off. So I just take off the duct tape booty from the wall as like so, and just set it on a table or a surface nearby. Get my diaper ready and my vet wrap and my towel. I'm going to undo the boot. And there's just some Betadine on her white sock there. And just lift her foot out. As long as it's on a clean surface, you can put her foot back down. Take my towel. Just dry the top of her foot off just a little bit. So I'm going to show you here how I put everything on. So if we were using an Animal Intex Poultice pad, I would soak that first in warm water, just apply it to the horse's hoof with the plastic facing up, and do my diaper, which is just going to hold that poultice pad on pretty nicely and pad the hoof. Then I'm going to take my vet wrap and I'm just going to wrap the whole hoof. This just helps keep that all in place. Just be careful you don't wrap too tightly over the heel bulbs. And if it doesn't cover the entire bottom of the hoof, that's okay, because we're going to put our duct tape booty over it. So I'm just placing it where I want to, and then I'm just going to start folding down the sides. Because I have those slits in the sides, it's going to help just with the folding to form to the hoof. I'm going to take my long piece that I have ready and just wrap it around the perimeter of the hoof, and that just keeps everything together. If this is all you've got, that's great, but I find that the Gorilla Tape just really makes a big difference on how well it lasts. So again, just kind of pushing all the way down on all sides. And I like to take just one long piece and wrap it around the perimeter of the hoof. This one doesn't make it all the way around, but it's okay. I just need to make it longer in the future. And then you have your completed duct tape booty. One thing I want to show you is just a different way to do things to where you have both hands, especially as you're learning how to do this. You're just going to want to put the horse's hoof on your knee like this, and then you have both hands to work on the horse's hoof. I'm going to demonstrate that here with another angle doing the Animal Intex pad. So I have my soaked Animal Intex pad and I'm just resting it on my knee and I'm putting the diaper on. Again, this is just what I've done before. I'm just showing it with another angle and how resting it on your knee can be quite helpful to have both hands, especially when you don't have kids like me and have trouble with diapers. And here I'm just doing the vet wrap just like I did before, but just a slightly different angle so you can see how I'm doing it. I'm just being careful not to do too much pressure over the heel bulbs on the back of the hoof there. And that's what it should look like at the end. Okay, if you don't have any poultice pads on hand, you can do an Epsom salt soaking bandage. So basically all I'm doing is placing some Epsom salts on the bottom of the horse's hoof and covering it with the diaper. And then the rest is exactly the same. Do your vet wrap and then your duct tape booty. And then you're going to want to soak that hoof bandage to get those Epsom salts wet in there. Another way you can do it is make a paste beforehand, but this one's just a little bit easier. And that's all you've got to do. So that's several ways to do it. And that's what it'll look like at the end. Just make sure it's not too tight by checking with 2 fingers in the back of the wrap.
Well, thank you, friend, for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and leave me a comment below with any questions you might have. And happy riding. Cheers. Bye.